Blog Talk Radio. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to A Dose of Dr. Gwen on this sunny Friday afternoon. It is May 28th, noon Eastern Time in the Boston area. As we head into a lovely long weekend, at least it will be out here in New England, I thought we'd talk a little bit today about digital footprints. There's been a lot of chatter online about Facebook changing its privacy settings, and next week the FTC is going to be talking about the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. And I think in preparation for all of these discussions, a lot of people have no idea what a digital footprint is, how we even address privacy with our families, and I thought this would be a good time to kind of get an idea what the digital landscape is and get everybody on the same page. I also, as we're heading into the summertime, thought I'd make a few little changes to the show. I'm going to try to make all the shows a half hour or less because I think we should be able to get through the important points in a half hour, and in keeping with my new quest to get everybody offline as much as possible, I don't want to keep you online with my own show that long. So I'm going to try to make a concerted effort to do that and be as efficient as I can. So digital footprints. What the heck are these things? Well, you know, it's funny. We leave footprints every day, all day long, on and offline. Our online footprints are sometimes an enigma to us. Offline, it's easy. We leave footprints and fingerprints as we go about our day, and they're usually quite visible. We leave messes in our kitchen. We leave dishes everywhere, piles of laundry. If you go to the beach, you can find your footprints in the sand as you go around. But we can clean those messes up, and we can actually leave no trace of ourselves if we want to. What I love about the offline world, the normal world we live in, which we can argue that the online world is part of that world too, which indeed it is. But just for the sake of argument, for the next 30 minutes, we're going to consider the two worlds 100% separate because it will just make more sense. We can actually play hide and seek offline much more easily. We can go hide somewhere and people cannot find us if we want. And that is kind of a neat thing. We can hide in a basement. We can play hide and seek with our kids. We can change our identity, and that's kind of a neat property to do, and it's a lot of fun. We can go to a masquerade ball, and we can sort of hide our footprints offline. Now online, though, what goes online stays online. It's like the perpetual Vegas, and that's the thing about a digital footprint. So let me give you some definitions. There's a blog called Languages Blog that calls the digital footprint your online data trail, and I think that is one of the best descriptions that I have ever heard of. And it's like bytes of information following you around. If you go to Wikipedia, Wikipedia has a nice definition of your digital footprint too. They call it a data trace or trail left by someone's activity in the digital environment. Kind of vague, but it makes sense as well. It's kind of like your digital memories. So if you do something online, I see Dr. Anonymous is hanging out in my chat room. So he is now leaving a digital memory of himself in the chat room. So that's part of his digital footprint right now. As I'm doing this podcast, talking to all of you, I'm creating a digital memory of myself now through the podcast world. As I tweeted about it earlier today, that was also part of my digital memory. In fact, those tweets also went to Facebook, so that created another snapshot of my digital footprint. So anything you do in the electronic and digital world is part of your digital footprint. And now the thing about it is that your digital footprint is not just a snapshot about you. It's something that other people can use for you to sort of promote you online or to sort of promote who you are, like your family can sort of take pictures of you and share it about if you have people that are far away. But other people can use it against you too. This is where people can sort of steal your reputation. We talk a lot about advertising tactics that other people do for children, behavioral targeting and behavioral marketing. This is where if you do something wrong online, like you post a picture of yourself having a wild time in Vegas, not so great for your reputation. It's also how you build your reputation on and offline. So in a few minutes I'll talk about that because that's what we really worry about with kids and where my big emphasis is if we mismanage our digital footprint and we leave a trail of digital mud and dirt online, that can really come back to haunt us. It turns out that this reference of sort of digital imprinting has been around since about 1996. In a book called Being Digital, a guy named Nicholas Negroponte referred to this as a slug trail. Tim O'Reilly called it data exhaust. And I actually like that name, data exhaust, because if you think about it, it refers to sort of the car concept. I talk a lot about driving the Internet, and we refer to kids as learning the Internet, sort of analogous to driving online to the Internet. And you almost picture yourself driving online on the World Wide Web through the various twists and turns and paths as you go from maybe Twitter to Facebook to Flickr to your email to some other website as you're searching Google, to anywhere else online, maybe to Amazon to do some shopping or to another site. It's almost like you're leaving behind some digital dust behind you. And so I think that's a wonderful analogy. And everything you do online leaves behind some of these dust. And the question is, how do you figure out how to follow this path? How do you know what it is? And how do you know if it's making you dirty or if it's something you should even worry about? And what I'm going to do in the next 20 to 30 minutes is show you how you can find your own digital dust, how you can clean it off, and how you can actually go through some maintenance to sort of figure out where it is. Now, let me give you some information. I figured out how much my digital dust is. There's a tool by the EMC Corporation that can help you track your own digital dust. I'm going to post it online later today. And I don't really know what these numbers mean, but you can sort of figure out how much digital dust you have online with this little tool. It turns out I have 342 billion bytes of digital dust online. That's how big my digital footprint is since January 1, 2010. Now what's interesting is I looked at my little digital footprint counter this morning at about 10 a.m. and in the last 2 hours my digital footprint has increased by 50,000 bytes of information. So that's about 25,000 bytes of information per hour. So we keep accumulating bytes of information as we go through the day just like that. So I'm going to post for you guys how you can download this thing, and you can just see this number. I'm looking at it right now. It just keeps ticking and ticking and ticking and ticking and ticking, almost more than 1 byte per second per minute. I mean, it's huge. It's already increased since I just counted it for you. It's gone up another 100 bytes of information. It just keeps going on and on and on. And at the end of the half hour, I'm going to give you this little tool that I found on ReputationDefender.com that helps you figure out if you even need to manage your online reputation. Reputation Defender has some tools you can pay for if you feel you need to clean your reputation up, because sometimes it can be really hard to remove your information, but they have a way of helping you do it. So I think what we need to do is be able to sort of have respect for our digital footprint online, and I just found this digital counter fun, being the total techno geek that I am, but I think it's also fun to be able to sort of figure out where you are. So because I'm a pediatrician and I love finding out what kids are doing, I decided to go to my daughter's Facebook page to see if kids are posting information correctly online or not. There's always this concern, well, what are kids doing? Do they have some respect for privacy or don't they? And let me tell you, the current data on this is very reassuring that kids do respect privacy. Now, they do, but they don't. The interesting thing is my daughter has over 300 friends on her Facebook page, and many of her friends do as well. I was reassured to see I could not access anybody's profile that had not friended me. So I think that is very reassuring, and it's actually supported by data that teens are becoming very aware of their privacy. Now this is good because from their digital footprint point of view, you don't want your teens to have their profiles accessed by the world. This impacts, getting hired by jobs. This impacts whether they get into college. I'll give you some data on that in a sec. But they didn't set it up for pictures. So for a lot of these kids, I could not access their profile information, but I could click on pictures and see whether they've gotten drunk at a party, see if they're in a suggestive pose with a boy or a girl. All of that stuff goes to their digital footprint. So I think that is important for us to point out as parents to them. So we need to help them a little bit. Now, some of these kids don't know this. The thing is, they're not doing this on purpose. Facebook makes it very hard for us to figure out what the privacy settings are. And you sometimes have to go through application by application by application. And this is because they're teens, but it's also because the applications are very obscure for their privacy settings for adults and for kids. So let me give you a little bit more information now that we know how to do this, because this speaks to how do you follow the path. Well, one way you follow the path is you have to know that the path is there. So what I suggest we do is know that you have to follow your digital footprint. And you can do this a number of ways. The first thing would be Google yourself and Google all your kids and see if stuff turns up. See if they turn up in pictures. See if they turn up online. See if they turn up in a concerning way. At the end of the half hour, I'll give you this Reputation Defender tool and I'll post it. I found that a really interesting way of helping me identify if I was turning up in places where I didn't want to. And if you do that for every member of your family, it's a way of sort of doing a reputation monitoring system, and for free they'll actually email you little updates about whether or not you need to track stuff down. And a lot of these things we can manage on our own. We don't need a company to do. The other thing is understand what the data tells us about what kids and what adults are doing. Pew Internet and American Life Project has done some really great studies. A new one came out just today, in fact, on reputation management and social media, and it talks about how adults are now much more savvy about reputation management and social media than ever before, but not 100%. So even though most of us are tracking our reputations, it's more the young adults. The sort of 18 to 29-year-olds, they kind of get it, and they're taking steps to really limit their personal information and check their privacy settings. They're deleting unwanted comments and removing names from photos, but I think all of us have to do that more too. So those of us in our 30s and our 40s have to catch up to them. We have to understand that our personal information is readily available online. We have to watch our privacy settings. We have to check comments made about us, and we have to include photos in that bunch. I think we forget photos are really part of our online reputation. So in terms of the digital footprint, Pew has studied this too, and let me just kind of go through what they detected back in, now this was done a couple of years ago, so it does have to be updated a little bit, but they had some startling results. They said that 1 in 3 adults online do give out their home address and information that they work online, that they're uncertain about the availability of their email address, so those are big red flags there. That 1 in 10 believe that their information about political party is available online. They often share second-degree personal information through comments posted on social media sites. 1 in 3 adult internet users has posted creative content online. That would be like blogs and podcasts and other fun sites like that. On social media profiles with adults, transparency is the norm. I think those of us on Facebook see that. I mean, I've had people who I've friended who I knew everything from what they were doing that day, which tennis club they were going to. I even remember somebody posted they were about to eat a kumquat. And things like that. I think that there sometimes is a fine line between how much you post and how much you don't post. Most internet users feel that it would be pretty easy for someone to locate or contact them based on the available information online. For young adults, they, in terms of managing the online footprint, they wrote, many of whom maintain a social profile are more likely than other internet users to believe that it would be very difficult for somebody to locate them or contact them. Now this completely parallels what Pew just wrote about managing online reputation. The younger folks are doing a better job than us older folks. So I think since a lot of us older folks are the ones who parent the teens, we have to do a much better job in helping our teens. Now in terms of teens, Pew did look a couple years ago at teens' privacy and online social networks, and other people have looked at this too, and I just wanted to take a minute and just tell people that teens are very concerned about privacy, but their view of privacy is a little different than us. They don't necessarily think about the greater world beyond their wall. Like they really think that only people on their wall are going to read it, they don't necessarily think about the greater implications of the company who's sponsoring their site and the greater world. So that's one thing that we have to keep in mind and help them with. On the Pew Summary of Findings for Teens, Privacy, and Online Social Networking, one of the conclusions was most teenagers are taking steps to protect themselves online from the obvious areas of risks, but they believe that some information can be shared and other information can't, and I think that's an area that we can, again, interface with. But the survey did suggest that teens face potential risks associated with online life because about a third of teenagers were contacted by people that they didn't know. So that's something that we have to remember. Of their profiles, 66% of them said that their profile was not visible to all Internet users and that they limited it in some way. That's what I found when I went online today. Among those whose profiles were accessible, 46% said that they give away a little. Others falsify their information online. Other researchers have found that. And I found when they looked at posting, first name and photos are standard. They create a lot. They all have tons of photos online. And what I found today when I went and looked, as I mentioned earlier, and that was supported in this Pew Summary of Findings, is that they have a huge amount of photos online and that they don't necessarily feel that sharing that is bad. In terms of other things to keep in mind, that as they get older, they feel they can share more. So where do we go from here now that you have an idea of privacy landscape? Well, a couple things. First off, there's a lot more information out there and readily available, I think, by a lot of sites on parameters for this digital footprint concept. When I was looking around to get information about, well, what do we do? How do we teach our kids about all this? And what do we do to make this a little bit more accessible to them? There are some wonderful videos that really reinforce what the digital footprint is and how we can control it for our kids. Two that I want to highlight for you that I'm going to post the links to that I think are great that you should sit down and watch with your kids as a family. One is by the Digital Native Group from John Palfrey's group at Harvard. He wrote the book Born Digital, and it's a wonderful way of looking at somebody's digital footprint, or they call it a digital dossier. What they basically do is they follow somebody from the time they're born, and it shows how you just collect data through your life. And even after you die, and how the data just keeps collecting. It follows this virtual boy named Andy, how from the time he's born he has a barcoded bracelet with vital information, and then his parents take pictures and they upload those to Flickr, and relatives text about him, spreading news about his birth, and then all of a sudden Andy's old enough to go onto websites like Neopets and register for a profile, and then Andy goes off to college and starts registering for classes and doing Google searches and buying things on Amazon. Then he joins Facebook and starts posting things with friends and getting married, and he and his wife start doing blogs and having kids of their own, and the cycle continues. And it's a really neat video to show how we can easily start collecting information and have information collected about ourselves in this sort of virtual digital file, and that if we don't learn how to manage that information by being judicious about what we put online, as well as being judicious about who we put it online with, then we can become targets of all sorts of identity issues and other sorts of issues. The other video that I'll post is by the YouTube people. YouTube has an entire wonderful safety center with these neat little stick figure videos that are oriented towards kids. The one that I'm going to highlight for you is called Playing and Staying Safe Online, and they have 3 messages for kids. One is personal is personal. Things like keep your private stuff private, only friend your real friends. I think that's great advice for kids and one of the best ways of managing your digital footprint. The second is respect yourself and respect others. Don't put up with bullies and don't be a bully yourself. Again, another great safety feature and also a way of indirectly managing your digital footprint because it helps you avoid strangers. And it also throws in there if somebody contacts you that you don't know, go seek out a trusted adult. So it helps manage that 32% of people who are contacted by strangers. And the second is be street smart. Remember that the Internet's like a big city, so be cautious about people that you meet online that you don't know. You know, use the same offline street smarts that you would online. So it helps kids, and I think the whole YouTube video is 4 minutes. In those quick minutes, it helps them get everything that they need to know online to be incredibly savvy. And really, those are the take-home messages for managing your online digital footprint. You really want to teach your kids to sort of use their noggin. Remember that what goes online stays online, that you need to know your privacy settings. Make sure you have it set to friends only or friends and family only. And if you're uploading pictures or uploading music, that you have it set to the right settings so that it only goes to the right people. The other thing that I would throw out too is that when you're managing your digital footprint, you want to think about how many emails you're sending a day and to who. You don't just want to say reply all. Look at who's in the list. Make sure, is this an email I need to reply to? Is this something that can wait? You know, I think we all get into the habit of sending a billion emails for no reason. When it comes to kids and Facebook walls, I would argue that have them keep it clean and help them think about smart posting so that they can learn to post in a way where they don't have something on there that can come back to haunt them. Now, in terms of long-term maintenance, you have to have kids understand that what they put online affects their online reputation. So you want to do things like monitor your reputation online, just like you would do any type of household cleaning and laundry once a week. So I would put it into your to-do list, you know, once a week or once a month, maybe with the ReputationDefender.com's What's Your Web Score, which is what I did. And you just answered a few questions. It was neat. You just sort of type in what you want them to search. I typed in Dr. Gwen, and I ended up with a score that was between -200, which is apparently a very big warning score, up to 1,000. My score ended up being 415, so I was just in the green zone. I'm not perfect online, but I'm not the worst. They came up with a whole bunch of scores. Apparently, I have good influence online. I don't have a lot of control, which was my big warning area. I'm not quite sure entirely what that meant. I have to do a little more research in that. It said, 3 people posted about me photos that were owned by other people, so they said that was a potential warning sign. I actually know the people that posted those photos. They're friends of mine on Facebook, but they flag stuff like that, so you can take a look at that and think, hey, is that something I need to track down? My audience of my social networking site got one negative sign, which they said isn't bad. I don't have hundreds and hundreds of friends. I think what they're looking to do is have you take a look at all these parameters. And, you know, if I had 500 people on my audience list for my social networking sites, maybe I would know all those people, but maybe I wouldn't. So I think they would flag it just to say, hey, take a look at this. Make sure it's not a warning sign. I post pretty often, but not too much, so my activity was one negative sign. In my visibility, it says I'm kind of hard to find. I only got one negative sign, but I'm kind of easy to find too. I show up high on Google searches, but not necessarily easy. So, and I think I was kind of satisfied with that. You know, I want to be visible given what I do in my day job, but I also don't want to be so visible that it's dangerous, you know, where people can find me actively. So for me, given what they flagged, it was reasonable, and I could understand what the parameters were. If you do this, if you scroll over each of those score features, influence, control, audience, activity, and visibility, it tells you exactly what they find. Like, they'll tell you what they found for friends, what they found for posts, what they found for visibility, and then it'll send you monthly updates so you can decide what to do about it. Now, in terms of ReputationDefender.com, they have a whole bunch of tools that you can buy that will help you in terms of managing your online reputation if you find you need to. So if you decide your kids are showing up too much, or you have some trash about you online that you didn't know you had. A lot of people posted pictures of you that you didn't know how they got there, or someone took a picture of you at a party, or something detrimental showed up about you online, sometimes that stuff can be hard to track down. So what do you do if you find something online that's negative about you? So let me just talk about a negative digital footprint for a minute. Especially for kids, this affects their ability to get into college and their ability for a long-term job. It's funny, in 2008, about 10% of college admissions officers were using Facebook and social media profiles as a real tool to help them figure out who they should accept. A year ago, the same survey was done, and it's up to 88%. So our social media life is becoming a real tool used by people in real ways. So I think we have to be very careful in helping our kids understand this more. What you should do, very simple. Take a screenshot of it with your computer so you always have that record in case you need it. And then try to get it removed yourself. You can usually go to the site, if it's Facebook or MySpace or whatever the blogging site is, and get it removed. If that doesn't work, you can use a group like Reputation Defender to help you remove it. And I'll post all that information for you because it's important to know what to do if you find something that you need to get removed. And, you know, as I said, what goes online stays online, and it can be sometimes hard to get these things removed permanently. So don't be bashful about working really hard to try to get it removed. Now, in terms of upcoming shows, I'm going to have a show on June 3rd talking about the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, June 10th on small kids going online, and June 24th about a safe and unplugged summer. And then I'm going to take the whole rest of the summer off until August to be unplugged with my own family. And when I come back in August, I'm going to have a whole bunch of new and exciting high-tech issues to help you guys keep your family plugged in smartly and safely. And at that time, I'll be just about ready to launch my new book, CyberSafe, and I'll have a lot more fun information on that and be able to do some shows around topics around the book. So on that note, I'm going to sign off and let you get on with your wonderful long weekend, and I will see you next Thursday at noon. So have a wonderful rest of the weekend, and thanks for joining me, Dr. A. Let me take you guys out with John Chuza's Titanic. This is a fun one.